Today's date is January 8th of 2025, which means New Year's resolutions are underway. And a lot of people this year for 2025 had the New Year's resolution of quitting smoking weed or consuming cannabis products. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 pitfalls or 3 potential hiccups that could occur when quitting smoking weed in the year of 2025. Now, if you wind up enjoying the content in today's video, be sure to check out the links in the pinned comment in the video description to learn more about our free and paid programs and products designed to help you quit. Problem number 1, when you're quitting weed as a New Year's resolution or quitting anything, a lot of times that decision is heavily rooted in motivation. And I am a massive fan of motivation. I rely heavily on motivation to get myself started every day. But the reality is, motivation is eventually going to fade, and quitting cannabis for a prolonged period of time is going to require a certain amount of discipline. I always refer to sobriety or moderation as a discipline, and disciplines take practice. That's how you get good at something. You have to practice being sober, and by practicing over and over and over again, you're disciplining yourself in the act of sobriety and remaining sober. So that's the first pitfall. Most people are going to rely on motivation to quit. It's a new year. It's a new me. I'm making all these positive changes. And then wham, the cannabis withdrawal symptoms set in, and it's like getting punched in the face. And all of a sudden, all that motivation, all those feel-good feelings are out the window. The person experiences some degree of discomfort, and then they're right back to using cannabis. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is kind of rooted in, I would say, like a societal point of view. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of positive encouragement in the beginning of a new year when it comes to making positive changes, right? You got people quitting drinking, quitting smoking, quitting losing weight. So society is kind of ramped up on a health kick every new year. But this only lasts, what, 2 weeks, maybe a month in some extreme circumstances. And then most of society starts to go backwards into their old patterns, old habits, old behaviors, old addictions. So we lose that momentum pretty quickly when we're making a New Year's resolution. And I think that momentum is heavily influenced by the rest of society, friends, family, people, just social media in general, right? It starts off with a lot of momentum, and then that momentum disappears. So if you were relying on motivation and momentum to carry you through quitting cannabis throughout the year of 2025, you're probably going to run into trouble, and you probably have to start to think to yourself, how can I refocus on discipline, and how can I refocus on the practice of sobriety, right? Exercising discipline and practicing being sober. Problem number 2 with quitting cannabis as a New Year's resolution is it's a very short-term goal. And in many cases, there's a failure of habit replacement. So if my goal is to quit smoking weed for 2025, and I'm 3 days into 2025 and I've successfully quit smoking weed, that's it. I've accomplished my goal. It's done. It's over with. Who cares? I did it. I proved to myself I could do it. A lot of times I encourage people, you should replace the habit of smoking weed with a newer, healthier habit, with a newer, healthier obsession. In my case, drug and substance use was an obsession, so I had to find something else to become obsessed with. For me, that turned out to be social media and other things, other business ventures and family life and things like that. But if your only goal is this short-term goal, and if your only goal is a short-term goal that's rooted in the psychology of giving something up, i.e. giving up weed, quitting weed, the chances of long-term success just aren't going to be there because you're not focused on long-term outcomes. So again, going back to what are the reasons why you're quitting smoking weed? What long-term things do you hope to achieve through quitting cannabis? And what are the expected timelines of those long-term things? Because if you're saying I want to quit smoking weed to do better in my physical health and grow my business and deepen my relationship with my significant other, those are not short-term goals. Those are going to take long-term things. Quitting weed is step 1. That's the first aspect. But don't lose sight of the long-term stuff just because you focused so much on the short-term goal of, i.e. quitting smoking weed. Tip number 3. that throws a lot of people off for quitting the new year. A lot of people go into making decisions in the new year with the intention of feeling good, with the intention of feeling better about themselves. And the reality is, when you're quitting a substance, typically in the beginning, you don't actually feel better about yourself because you're going through withdrawal, you're struggling with some cravings. And look, withdrawal and cravings, it's going to vary from person to person. So don't use my experience or someone else's and turn it into your own. Just go through it yourself and see what happens. But in many cases, people will have withdrawal symptoms, people will have cravings, and they'll say, wait a second. My intention was to feel better going into 2025, and now I objectively feel worse as I'm going through headaches, nausea, sweating, withdrawal symptoms. And then the person winds up lapsing or relapsing on the substance because the goal of feeling better wasn't accomplished in the first 2 weeks or the first month. And one of the things that I encourage people to do, and this is a huge shout out to our newest channel sponsor, Exploro, is to track your THC detox. If you think about it, we track a lot of things. We track weight loss. Some people track calories. We track our spending habits, or hopefully you track your spending habits. We track stuff in order to see progress, okay? And one of the things you can track is THC detox. Exploro, our newest channel sponsor, has a highly sensitive THC testing kit. It's a urine testing kit. And you can find my Amazon affiliate link to that in the pinned comment or the video description. One of the things you can do when you're quitting, as you're going through that detox and withdrawal process, is do some urine tests to see where you're at and watch the progress as it's happening. As you're going through those withdrawals and you're getting in a negative headspace, it's kind of relieving to see, like, oh yeah, wait a minute. The THC is in fact leaving my body. I am in fact detoxing correctly. And I can see that I don't only feel that subjectively or objectively, but I can see it subjectively right here on a test strip. So tracking your progress, if this is something that you've struggled with, might help. And I also throw this out there to people too. For people who are maybe like 30 days in and still struggling a little bit, especially if they've been really heavy users of cannabis, it helps to know if you still have really high levels of THC circulating in your system, or the byproducts or the metabolites of THC, because then I'm able to turn around and say, hey, look, hang in there. You're still going through a somewhat acute detox phase. We're still working to get your body's still working to get all of this out of your system. Because a lot of times people will think the detox is over. They'll still feel weird, and then they'll get in this mindset of, this is how it is. I'm stuck this way forever. Blah, 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 and then they wind up making a poor decision based on something that wasn't factual. So don't fall for that. The long-term goal is to feel better, and that will happen with time. Again, going back to that idea of not focusing on the short-term outcomes, but the long-term outcomes of what it is you're trying to accomplish. And you can literally track that and test that with something like a product like Exploro, which again, Amazon affiliate link and pinned comment link to that product. And guys, this is please show that company some love. They're one of our few channel sponsors, right? Very few people want to sponsor our channel and support it because of the space that we're in, right? We're kind of against the grain when it comes to a lot of things these days. And YouTube has demonetized well over 60 to 70% of my videos. So any company that is supporting us and supporting us helping other people, I'd really appreciate it if you showed them some love. And if you're in need of some THC detox test kits, check that out, okay? We'll have more great content for them to come in the future. All right, guys. Now, my last tip, and maybe one of my most important ones, is this. You've had bad days for literally no good reason your whole life, right? You've had bad days that have absolutely no purpose behind them. You've woken up and you felt crappy. You caught the flu. You caught COVID. You caught this. You got that. You lost your job for no good reason, whatever it is. You've had tons of bad days, and you've gotten through all of those bad days. Like here you are today watching this video, right? So can't you reasonably choose to have a few bad days with a purpose, with the purpose of ultimately improving your quality of life through either taking a tolerance break from cannabis or fully quitting cannabis or moderating cannabis use or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish? Can't you go through a few potential days of detox and withdrawal, a few bad days like you've done a million times before in your life, but at least in this case, have the potential for a better outcome, the potential for a better quality of life, you are 1,000% capable of doing that. It's all about the mindset. There's nothing uniquely special about me or that I do with people as either an addiction recovery coach or as my own experience in quitting these substances. The difference is I made a decision, I committed to that decision, and I saw it through. And I did that with having the right mindset. You are capable of doing the exact same thing. You are capable of quitting weed, taking a tolerance break from weed, moderating weed, whatever it is you're trying to do, you are capable of doing it. You just have to get into the right mindset and not fall for these pitfalls or traps along the way. I hope this video helped you out. You guys show Exploro some love. Link, Amazon affiliate link is in the pinned comment in the video description. And you can learn about all of our other paid and free program resources by checking out those links in the pinned comment in the video description. Until next time.